Welcome back to SK Hobbies, AZ, and I am Stitch. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about this awesome wall mounting system that I've created for my bashers and my 10 scales. So you guys are going to stay tuned for this. All right, well, welcome back. So yes, we're going to talk about what I did to create this. I'm going to put a couple of pictures up on the screen. All right, so as you can see here, we started by putting the plywood on the wall, and then I attached that 2x3 to the plywood on both the top, middle, and the bottom. So you can see the middle piece of plywood there. And then I started cutting my 2x4s to make my actual rack. So I did it individually per RC and spaced it out to where I had about a 1 inch to a 1.5 inch gap. And then I basically have two 2x4s, and they are cut approximately at 14 inches. And then you can see the little chunk of wood that is in between it at the 2x3. And that's about 2.5 inches wide 2x4 that I put in there. And then I secured each side of the 2x4 with 4 screws. And I'll walk you through the finished product and show you how I got those attached and tell you the screws that I used. And then worked my way all the way up to approximately 9 foot. My door, and that door right there, actually leads to the bathroom of my new studio. And that is a 9-foot door. So we're going just a little bit above 9 feet with the wood and the rack. And we're holding approximately 9 RCs. Now, we're not holding 9 RCs on there currently. You know, we only have 7, but I got a spot for 2 additional ones later on. Then I started working on the crawler mount right here. And you can see that the crawler one next to it, where I got all the base camps. I don't have all of the crawlers on this one yet. I just was using these ones as my test fit. And built similar, but without 2x4s, I used 2x3s. And those are at 10 inches. For the base plate, and then I have a 4-inch piece, which I'll show you a good close-up here after I get rolling on the video that's going to come up here short. And then built that up, and with this bad boy, we can hold approximately 10 crawlers. Now, when I get all of my other 2 crawlers on there, the 2 that are missing aren't completed or really built yet, so they have some clear shells, which you will see in the final end of this video. I still have room for 2 additional crawlers on this rack. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we got after we pulled all the cars back off and we actually put the stain on. All right, so here it is. This is after the stain. And here is the stain. So it's a Min-Max wood finish, and it is the aged barrel. And we only did 1 coat on it, but it looks like it worked pretty good. So you can see that there's 2 different colors there because we used basically 2 different types of wood. This is standard 2x4s that you get. And then over here, this is more of the white wood. But if we talk about how we built this, so it is, you can see it goes all the way to the top of the door frame there, which is a 9-foot door. And we don't have that back wood going all the way down to the ground. So I had to put some plates right here, one there and one there, so it's all bolted into the stud on one side, and then it's drywall screws on the other side. 2x4 links for the standard, running about 14 inches on these, and then for the 8S I have that down there at 16 inches, so it sticks out a little bit farther. But these are all 2x4s. Kind of show you guys how I did it. 2 of the 2x4s, I cut a little chunk about 2.5 inches long to go in the center. And this is actually this is a 2x3 8-foot length stud. And then it's just a 1/2 inch plywood for the backing. And I did that throughout, except for, the bottom one is a 16-inch links down there going all the way up to the top. So that's kind of how we got that assembled. And then so basically I put 2 wood screws going into the 2x3, and then I got 2 going into the little 2x4 piece that I did at 2.5 inches on both sides. And then I got 2 going through right there and right there, going into the 2x3 in the back. And then basically I have 2 screws on each of the 2x3s going into the back plate going up. Now I used, for these back ones here and the sides, I'm using a 2.5 inch wood screw. I'm only using a 2-inch wood screw on here, and that'll go through here, go through here. And same on this side. Now, so these screws right here are the on this side, on all 3, is going into a stud that's in the wall, and I'm using a 3-inch wood screw going right into there, or deck screw, I guess is what these are called. And then on this other side, I've got the drywall screws with an anchor going into the drywall on that side. So for the crawler one, these ones aren't as heavy, so I didn't need to make it as sturdy as I did this guy. So I'm using a 1x3 back here on the back, and that's running the full length 8 foot all the way up to the top. Now I did use some scrap wood in order to do this, and I didn't have a full 8 feet. So I only had the 6 feet, so I had to add an additional 2 feet right here. So I've got basically 3 screws in the back going into here and 3 screws on this guy going into here. Up at the top, I've got 3 screws holding that back plate down, and then I got 3 screws down here. For the racks, because they're not so heavy, I'm using the same wood that I used on the back of this guy. So this is a 2x3. So I'm basically using 10 inches long from here to here, and then I've got a 4-inch piece on the bottom. So I'm basically screwing in the top 2 screws going down into here with 2-inch wood screws, and then I have 3, which you can see right there. We have 3 2-inch screws going through here and into that back plate right there. Now, how I did the spacing, I didn't do a uniform spacing on any of these bad boys. The reason behind that is because this is built specifically for my RCs. So basically I put the first 8S outcast down there and then left about 1.5 inches above the top highest point of the outcast till I started the next rail. And so brought this up from the top of the outcast, which I'll show you guys here in a minute, about 1.5 inches up, and then basically picked my next basher to go right here and so on, and gave that 1.5 inch spacing going all the way up to the top. Now the top ones I'm not using, but I basically spaced those for the same amount as I did for any of my 6S bashers. Crawlers, I did the same thing. Everything is specific to my crawlers. On average, it's about a 10-inch spacing going up, except for one. You can see that this one right here is a little bit bigger. And the reason behind that is because I have that piece of wood attached up there. And then with getting it situated and trying to get it screwed in, I had to go a little bit higher. So I'm setting it about 11.5 inches going up there. And then went back to the 10.5 or 10 inches going up. So there you go. All right, so this is with all of the RCs on here. So as I was talking about the spacing, you can see right there we got a little bit over 1 inch, possibly 1.5 inches in between them. Now with my measurements, you can see that for the Talon, I got a lot more, but I have the capability of putting one of the taller ones up there too. But as you can see, going up. And then for the crawlers, you can see my spacing. I have that pretty good. And I got room for 2 additional RCs on each side up at the top. All right, so then I have one additional rack that I built, and that's for my SCX24s, and I'm going to go ahead and show that to you now. So this is the SCX24 one that I put together, and that is basically a 1" by 6" piece of white pine wood. And then I've got these 1x2 sheets you can pick up pretty cheap. I think they're like a couple of bucks at Lowe's or Home Depot, and pick those up. Cut those at 10.5 inches long. I cut about 1.5 inch long piece on the bottom. Basically screwed those two with 2 wood screws, and I think those are 1.5 inch wood screws going up into the bottom. And then I have 4, one on each side, coming through the back of that piece of wood to kind of hold those together. And then I'm running about an 8-inch spacing between, going all the way down. So with this rack that I built, we're looking at approximately 16, if you count them all, 16 spots for the SCX24s, or even the TRX4M, which you can see over here, and I got a little spot for the trailer. This one hasn't been stained yet. We're going to eventually get to that, but I figured I'd show you guys that one too. All right, so we'll eventually get to staining that one. I don't know if I'll do another video based on that one, but if you guys have any questions on that, jump down in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bash that bell. I'm Stitch, SK Hobbies AZ, and I'm out.